Good morning, friends. We are back with another vlog, another homemaking vlog where I am cooking up made from scratch meals for my family of 7. I've got 5 kids that I homeschool, and at the moment my husband is home full-time as well, but he is headed back to work in a few weeks. So I'm cooking for a lot of people all day long. I feel like I cook, I clean up, I might sit down and do a little bit of homeschool with some of the kids, and then I'm cooking again, gotta clean up, back to homeschool. And then cooking again, clean up, bedtime. So that's how life's been going, and we've been moving and unpacking boxes and trying to get this kitchen in order. That's been my main focus. The last thing I did, I don't know why I was so daunted by this task, but maybe you were daunted by it too. Unpacking all the spices. For some reason, I left that for the very last thing, and I didn't do it until I needed spices for cooking. So once I started cooking from scratch again, I needed spices, and so that's when the unpacking started of the spices anyways. The rest of the house is pretty much set. We've got a few boxes in the garage, we've got a few boxes in the shed that we need to go through, but those things aren't pressing items right now. Today what we're gonna do is make some eggs. These are the $1.97 eggs I got at the store. I got some cheese. I got some deer sausage that I pre-cooked a while back. In July, apparently, in the freezer. It survived the snow apocalypse and power outages and everything else. So it's pre-cooked. I just have to thaw it out, heat it up in the pan, add some eggs and cheese, and make a delicious scramble. And then the kids also requested potatoes au gratin, and I'm gonna cook those in a separate skillet and get that going. I'm gonna make the whole bag if I can fit it in my large caraway skillet. If it all fits in there, I'm just gonna go ahead and brown them all up, and whatever's left over we can use tomorrow. They'll already be cooked up, so that'll be nice. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Now that I have all my skillets and all of my pots and pans and everything, I can cook the way I'm used to cooking, so I'm very happy about that. I was doing everything in 1 skillet previously for the last week, and so happy to have all my pots and pans. Yes, and I prefer snowboarding myself. Yeah,
pretty cool. Nice and dark though, huh?
Quail lose their antlers. You're not allowed to kill the rural elk. So is it too much or not? Is it too much? The potatoes? Or what you got? Torsten or Annika? Y'all want cheese? All right, come get your plate. We're gonna start out this meal prep video with a little bit of a grocery haul. I journeyed into the little town down the road and needed to pick up a few items. I realized once I got there, I forgot my wallet, and all I had was $80 in my purse left over from cash I had to tip the movers. And so that is what I'm gonna use today to shop. All right, we've got $80. We have to stay on budget. I'm gonna start adding things up. Y'all, what is this? I asked the guy if it was a joke or if this was for real, and he said it was for real. They've got fun stuff in here. I'm looking at these cute little flower pots. Black and white prints. All right, we went to the grocery outlet, and when I say we, it was me and the mouse in my pocket because nobody else went with me. We got 9 dozen eggs for $1.97 each. That was the big score of the day. They're the grade AA medium eggs, cage free, and they expire on February 25th. So we will boil some up and then use them up in the next week at least. I'm sure we'll figure it out. I grabbed some all-purpose flour, and the shredded cheese was the same cost as a 2-pound block of cheese to get 2 pounds of shredded cheese, so we went ahead and grabbed that. Grabbed some bubblies, cookies and cream, ice cream, a treat for the family. We just basically can eat a whole one of these when we do that, so that's a nice treat. Yeah, whenever we decide we want ice cream. Potatoes O'Brien, these are really good. We've been putting them in our eggs and we've been cooking them on the side. I think the kids prefer them cooked on the side, so we'll do that. We just had a little bit left today, so whatever was left I fried up and mixed in with some eggs just to make them go a little farther. They didn't have any blueberries, so we grabbed 1 pack of dark sweet cherries, 1 pack of organic mixed vegetables, 1 pack of broccoli, frozen broccoli, because we never know when we're going to get to our vegetables. So it's nice to have them frozen, and then they're already prepped and they're easy to prepare. We just steam them on the stove real quick. And then 2 Caesar salads. The family likes butternut squash soup, and I grabbed 1 butternut squash. Probably could have grabbed 2, but I was on a cash budget because I left my wallet at home. We grabbed some apples. I did not weigh these. They just looked really good. And these are Honeycrisp apples. So we grabbed a bunch of those and we'll slice those up and eat them the next couple days. Same with the bananas. And what do you think all of this cost? Knowing that the eggs were $1.97. So I had $80 in my pocket and I had about 7 cents left over with this grocery haul. Those eggs are due to expire at the end of February, so tonight I am cooking up a whole bunch of eggs so that we can have boiled eggs, have egg salad, chop them up and put them on salads and everything else. So we'll have some boiled eggs, and with 7 people, and each person can sit down and eat 3 to 4 boiled eggs in a sitting. Some of the kids can eat more than that. They love them. We just put about 2 to 3 dozen in the Instant Pot and put the lid on, and then I steam these for 6 minutes, and I do the quick release, and then I dunk them in some ice cold water. Then they peel easy, and we've got easy snacks. All right, it's the next morning, and I'm gonna make a loaf of bread. We're starting out with 1 2/3 cup of water. You need 4 tablespoons of fat. I use olive oil because it's just the easiest thing for me to do, and I count to 5, probably about a 5 count there. Next, I'm going to add in 4 cups of flour, and I've got some whole wheat here, and I'm going to alternate with all-purpose flour, 2 cups of each. I'm adding 2 teaspoons of salt, and then we're going to add 4 tablespoons of sugar and then 2 teaspoons of active dry yeast. Once we have all the ingredients assembled, and I did leave out oats. Typically I would add about 1/3 cup of oats, but I did not add those this time. I do add a little bit extra flour when I don't add oats. But we're going to put this in the bread machine, and I select the quick loaf setting, and we have a loaf of bread in 2 hours. All right, the bread is complete. Ooh, look at that. Actually this is the second loaf of bread, but the first official loaf, the last loaf wasn't a hit with the family because we didn't have any all-purpose flour in it. It was just too dark. I'll show you. It was this loaf. They just weren't, and this was some flour that I had stored in emergency food stores for over a year, so I don't know if the flour just lost its flavor, but they weren't a super huge fan of that. This is going to be much better. Get it out and let it cool on the rack. Hi friends, been packing and doing all the things nonstop, not packing, unpacking, because that's the thing when you move. You gotta unpack all the things. I finally got my cabinets in order so I can make dinner. So tonight we're gonna have spaghetti, and we're gonna have spaghetti bolognese with deer meat. And check out this wind. Aaron just called, and I'm gonna insert a video, but twice today, he's seen 2 herds of elk. 2 herds of elk! Unheard of where we're from in Keno. Like, hunt for 30 days and not see elk. But driving around here, elk. right, let's give a little summary of what you can expect in this video. Right now, I'm gonna make some spaghetti bolognese, but coming up, we are making some hunter's pie. We're also gonna make some homemade hamburger buns, and you don't wanna miss that recipe because they are to die for, so delicious. My family said they're gonna refuse store-bought hamburger buns from here forward, so I guess I'm gonna have to keep making them. All right, we're also gonna make some delicious banana brownie bites, and oh goodness, a whole bunch of other tasty food in this made from scratch video. Right now we are just adding all of the seasonings, the typical trifecta of garlic powder, onion powder, Italian seasoning, salt and pepper to our beef and our onions. And then from there, we're just gonna mix everything up and cook this meat through. Then we're gonna add our can of Costco tomato sauce, and we're also gonna add an extra can of regular tomato sauce just to stretch this a little further. And of course, I swished water around in both of those jars eventually and dumped them back into the sauce. And then I put the lid on this sauce and let it simmer while we wait for the noodles to cook, which takes about 11 minutes. Oh, there's a pack of Caesar salad and Caesar salad cheese and Caesar salad seasoning that my daughter didn't add to the salad. So I went ahead and added them to our bolognese sauce. Yep, you can do that too. Just be creative in the kitchen and let nothing go to waste. And just to clarify, this bolognese is made with deer or venison, whichever you prefer to call it. I still don't know why we call pigs pork, pig meat pork, and cow meat beef, but here we are, venison. Pasta noodles are pretty self-explanatory. You add some salt to your water, you wait for it to boil, and then you add your noodles. And once the noodles are completely submerged, it takes about 11 minutes. I typically set my timer because I can never remember. It's just good to set your timer. Use your timer, folks. They're great inventions. So this is going to cook for 11 minutes, and then dinner is served.
It snows because I have a full-time job and I'm not gonna. See how this is.
All right, family's starting out with Caesar salads. All right, this is it all finished up. All right, I'm still feeling pretty challenged by this whole pantry challenge ordeal. I don't have any hamburger buns, so today I'm gonna make hamburger buns from scratch, and I've never done that before that I can remember. I've done it with sourdough, but I haven't done it with traditional yeast. I used to make sourdough hamburger buns all the time, but now we're gonna use these yeast packets, and I am doubling this recipe, so all of my measurements are going to be doubled. So we're doing the 2 yeast packets into 2 cups of warm water. We're also going to add a little bit of flour, a couple of tablespoons of flour in here, and get the yeast nice and active. Once everything is mixed up, we're going to let it sit for about 15 minutes and get nice and bubbly. We're just going to whisk all the ingredients in together. Next, we're going to add our 6 tablespoons of sugar. And then we're going to go in with 6 tablespoons of melted butter. Now remember, I am doubling this recipe, so it's going to make 16 hamburger buns. If you want to double your recipe, you can freeze the hamburger buns for the next time you need them. Next, we'll add in 2½ teaspoons of Redmond's real salt. We're going to get all of this mixed up together, and then we're going to gradually add our all-purpose flour. I'm also going to mix in 3 AA eggs. They're not large eggs, they're just 3 smaller-ish eggs. We're gonna mix up all of our liquid ingredients. I'm switching over to my dough hook before we add in the flour so that I can knead the dough with my KitchenAid mixer. Periodically, you're gonna stop and scrape down the sides. I like to use this Instant Pot rice paddle. If you have a plastic rice paddle, it works great in these bowls. We're gonna let this knead on low for the next 5 to 6 minutes. Okay, so now we've got our dough, and I think it's ready. I don't know, I've never made hamburger dough or hamburger bun dough before. And I'm using fast-acting dry yeast because I need this to act fast because I got a hungry family to feed. I'm gonna flour our surface a little bit and dump our dough out onto it. we shape it, roll it towards us, make it in a nice tight ball. All right, we're gonna drizzle some olive oil in this bowl, about 2 tablespoons worth or so. I know it doesn't look like it because it's kind of blobular, but I am rolling it under itself and making it tight ball. See, you can do it like this too. It's getting nice and airy. So we're gonna plop it upside down in there, swirl it around. We're gonna give it a toss. I'm just gonna toss it over so the top is covered. There we go. Flip it and flip it. You can cover it in saran wrap or foil or whatever you want to. All right, we're gonna let this double. Okay, I had to put the bread somewhere warm. We're still moving in, so. All right, I failed to show it doubled in size because we got excited. We had it over by the stove and the 2 little kids, they washed their hands and they got to punch it down. So now we are gonna resume our normal programming. All right, next thing we're gonna do is dump this out onto a floured surface, stretch it out. We are gonna stretch and roll all this dough into a rectangle that's about 1 inch thick, about 1 inch and a half thick all the way around. And then we are gonna cut and divide it into, as equally as we can, 16 pieces of dough. And then from there, we are going to shape our dough into round balls and flatten them into discs. Then we're going to place them on our parchment paper lined baking sheet, cover with saran wrap, and let them rise for about a half hour or until they double in size in a warm place. Next, we're going to make an egg wash with an egg and a couple tablespoons of milk, and then we're going to brush this over the top of our hamburger buns. You can top with sesame seeds if you like. Then we're going to bake in the oven at 375 degrees for about 15 minutes. They might need a little longer. Ours cooked up well in 15 minutes. Next, I'm just going to assemble some hamburger patties and season them up with salt, pepper. We're going to do onion powder and garlic powder, maybe a little bit of Redmond's real salt, seasoned salt to top it off. And then these are going to go in the oven. It's about 5 to 7 minutes each side under the broiler, and you've got yourself some quick and easy burgers. I've done it now because the family is in love with these hamburger buns, and they said, no more store-bought buns. Can't do it. Nope, not going to happen. So let's see if I can keep this trend going with making hamburger buns for my family every time we want hamburgers. I didn't think this needed vlogging because I used a can of Manwich or Sloppy Joe mix that I had in my emergency food stores because we're still kind of on a pantry challenge. We haven't done a proper shop or restock. Just bits and pieces here and there. But we're serving them on the homemade hamburger buns that I made last night and new crowd favorite. And yeah, Sloppy Joes with venison. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. All right, the bread machine is back. Just takes a few steps out of my process for making bread. Makes it super easy. I love this Zojurishi bread machine, and it comes in white and black and silver, I think. But I can link it down below if you are interested in a bread machine. I found 2 of these at the thrift store a couple months apart. So check your thrift stores. People buy bread machines with the good intentions of using them, and then they don't use them. So they donate them to the thrift store, and you can find them for pennies on the dollar. Well, you can find them anywhere from $7 to $20. You can get a decent in-shape bread machine. This one, it's fine. It's been through a move. It's been serving us for a few years. It doesn't have any dings or anything on it, too bad. It's just a little dusty from making 2 loaves of bread. I got some flour. I didn't realize how dusty our other house was either. Everything that we're unpacking and moving into this house is covered in dust. So that's been fun as well. Got some whole wheat and some all-purpose flour in there. I'll get my spatula and scrape it down. Where's the spatula? That is Still getting this place together. Well, this mess, I had the kitchen clean. This mess is just from me moving things to make bread. So anyways, I can't seem to keep this kitchen clean all the time because I cook in it constantly. Not clean, tidy. It's clean. It's always clean. There's always things on the surfaces. Every single surface, I set something on, things need to be put away. I put things away, I have to get things out. It's just a lot. All right, we'll come back. Okay, here we've got a lovely loaf of bread. So good. One side split, the other side didn't. I added 2 eggs to this. What else did I add to it? 2 eggs. I used melted butter this time. And I did mostly all-purpose flour. But there is some wheat in there. All right, Aaron ran to the grocery store because we needed fruits and vegetables. That's why. So we requested Honeycrisp apples. He grabbed 2 bags of those. Got 2 large family-sized Caesar kits. That makes it nice and easy to whip that up for lunch or dinner. The kids really enjoy these Simply Steam mixed vegetables, or mixed vegetables in general. We go through a lot of these around here. Most nights, that's our side. 3 cucumber pickles, English pickles. 2 batches of California mandarins and 3 half gallons of whole milk. And then always pickles. Pickles. And that should get us through. And I went to the grocery store the other day and we still have bananas and butternut squash left from that. And all of that was $70. He also got a bunch of frozen pizzas, and the frozen pizzas are out in the garage, and those totaled $30. So the grand total was $100. But Red Baron pizzas and all of this stuff. He is headed out of town, so it'll be just me and the kids, and we'll have some easy dinner. We are making these banana brownie cookies. But I'm using fresh milled wheat, and we got this from our local library here in Sun River, Oregon. It's the best library on the planet, I do believe. I'll have to give you guys a full-blown tour because it's amazing. And Hagen keeps finding the best cookbooks. So we're making this recipe.
We're on salt.
Yep, we're on add fine sea salt.
So 2.5 cups?
Nope, teaspoons.
Oh, 2.5 teaspoons.
I probably am not going to do the whole process with you guys, but this is what we have going on in this little area of our kitchen. We came home to a catastrophe, and a wood stove catastrophe. And right now we've got all the windows open. We're going to get t-shirts made because we said, where's the dough whisk? We said, I don't dough. I don't know where the dough whisk is. We are going to make some flour. We've got ourselves some cocoa powder from Azure Standard. This is how much it cost. 1 pound was $6.47 when I bought it last. This is not the Dutch cocoa powder, I don't believe. Well, hold on, let me look. No, it's fine. This is organic cocoa bean, non-alkali, so it's fine. It's fine. We're gonna use it anyways. So how do we do this? We go like this. Who wants to pull this tab? Right here, all right? So satisfying.
So satisfying.
Just 2 cups?
Yes. Then I'll put the chocolate chips in.
We added extra flour.
Edgar.
Maybe we need to add more. These are the lovely cookies. And we just did a test batch because the batter didn't look right to me, and I thought there's no way these are going to turn into cookies. And they did. And the cook time called for 14 to 18 minutes, and we did 13, and so far they look good. I haven't torn one open yet. We're going to let them cool for just a minute, and then we'll crack into them. Next up, we're making my version of shepherd's pie. I call it hunter's pie because we're going to use some elk meat in this. We've got the cookies done for dessert, but we've already had dessert first. We're going to cut up some onions and get the meat going. I had to break out the big guns. Onions are done. We've got our meat thawed out and we are going to mince up some garlic. This is some garlic that I grew in my garden last year, and it's the last of the garlic that we have left from that harvest, and everything's going to get mixed up in the skillet. All right, next up we are going to start cooking these vegetables. I was gonna add them to the meat, but what I'm gonna do is make a meat gravy, and the meat gravy is gonna go and then I'm gonna mix in the cooked vegetables, but I want to make sure that I have enough room to make my meat gravy before I go layering in the vegetables. So we're gonna get these going back here on this simmer burner. We are seasoning up the meat, onions, and garlic with some black pepper, a little bit of paprika. I'm gonna stir this up and add some flour to it. I gotta turn the heat down a little bit, got a little too hot. And I'm gonna make a beef broth, and we're gonna throw the beef broth in it. All right, beef broth. Even though this is elk, we're doing beef. Mixing up the better than bouillon. I'm not gonna dump it in there yet. I gotta get my flour going on my meat real quick. But we want to cook this flour in. If you don't cook in the flour, then you will have a white flour flavor, and that's not cool. Probably end up adding more than that when it's all said and done. We'll start adding a few other things. We're adding some Worcestershire sauce. It's just a smidge of ketchup. Not too much, and not very much mustard at all, just like that much. And we'll add more gravy, more bouillon and water to it. And this time, for the gravy, some of this potato starch water. And we're gonna get that mixed up. I'll add a little bit more water to it. We like gravy in this house, especially in our shepherd's pie. Now you could simplify this, of course, and you don't even need to make a gravy. You can just put your meat in the bottom and layer your vegetables and do some packet gravy or whatever you want, but you get the general idea. Make your gravy however you can. Oh, doesn't that look gravy-licious? So good. The key to mashed potatoes, ouch, not burn yourself. The key to mashed potatoes is to let them drain really good for a few minutes. I might regret this a little bit, but I'm gonna start out in this bowl and hope that it all goes well. Put a whole stick of butter in, maybe more, maybe 2 sticks. We'll see. A little bit more milk. Real quickly here, we're just going to season up our vegetables with some salt and throw some butter in there with them, always with the fat. Always lots of fat. All right, it's time to assemble. I'm going to do 2 because I think that's how much I'm going to have. All right, I'm making gravy. I got our butter going in the little sauce pot, and I'm gonna add, when this melts, I'm gonna add some flour to it. My kids are outside playing and I got the windows open. I'm gonna add some flour to it, let it cook for a minute, and then we're gonna add some beef broth that I'm making with Better Than Bouillon. We're gonna add that to it and have a beef gravy, if you will. So we're also gonna put some salt and some pepper in there. Other seasonings. Until it starts sizzling and cooking away. Except it's better than bouillon. It is beef bouillon. I don't know how much to add, but that looks like about a teaspoon amount. One in there with the flour and the butter. Then we'll add some water. Gravy started boiling. It'll thicken up here in just a minute. The first of the casseroles, the cheese covered one, is out because it was bubbling and ready to go. The other one, I'm just letting it brown a little bit more. Gotta move this off the burner. This is a milk frother, but we're using it for gravy from here on out. All right, these are the casseroles, or hunter's pie as we call them.
Stop? No.
Just like this. Oh, I'm gonna sit on here and watch them.
Okay.
That is cool.
Talk about pasta. I want to get really good.
Yeah, she's already at light. Her and Honey both. Except for when you brush her hair. I love that you guys all have your own sticks. You gonna?
That's my stick over